In our headlines on this Monday afternoon, September 9th here in South Korea. Despite strong exports, the South Korean economy is still taking time to fully recover, mainly due to weak domestic consumption. Latest report shows the nation's industrial output and consumption both fell in the month of July. A Jordanian truck driver has shot and killed 3 Israeli men at a border point between Jordan and the West Bank. The shooter was also shot dead by the Israeli forces. The curtain is drawn on the Paris 2024 Paralympics, officially drawing the competition to a close. Team Korea is coming home with 6 gold medals, exceeding its own and many pundits' projections. Thanks for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Peunji, filling in for Min-seoni. We begin with the local economy that's showing signs of constrained improvement despite a strong export growth, as domestic demand remains weak. Our business correspondent Lee Soo-jin starts us off.
Limited improvement in economic conditions due to a delayed recovery of domestic demand. This is how a major state-run think tank, the Korea Development Institute, evaluated South Korea's economy in its monthly report released on Monday. The nation's industrial output and consumption both fell in July, reflecting weak domestic demand. While industrial output rose 2.7% from the previous year, it fell 0.4% on month, the third consecutive month that the index has declined compared to the previous month. This was mainly due to production in the mining and manufacturing industries dropping 3.6% on month, the largest drop since December 2022. And retail sales, an indicator of consumer spending, dropped 2.1% on year in July. The value of construction completed fell again in July, dropping 5.3% on year for the second straight month. But exports remained solid on the back of a robust demand in the ICT sector. The value of exports in August reached $57.9 billion, rising 11.4% compared to last year. This marked the largest export figure for the month of August on record and was the 11th straight month that exports posted growth. Shipments of 7 out of 15 key export items rose, with exports of semiconductors jumping 38.8% on year, computers a whopping 183.2%, and wireless communication devices more than 50%. Meanwhile, inflation in August also eased to the government's target level of 2%, the lowest seen since March 2021. This came after the consumer price index rose 2.6% the previous month. As for the global economy, the report said that it continues to show moderate growth, mostly in the service sector, but the uncertainties remain due to high interest rates, ongoing geopolitical tensions, and weaknesses in the manufacturing sector. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
In other news, for the 5th straight day, North Korea sent trash-carrying balloons towards South Korea on Sunday. According to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the North sent around 120 balloons over 3 hours from 9 a.m. Of those, 40 were confirmed to have fallen in areas of Seoul and northern Gyeonggi-do province. No harmful substances were found, with the trash mainly consisting of paper, plastic, and bottles. Sunday's provocation follows the sending of 200 balloons late Saturday and is the 17th time balloons have been sent since late May. Leaders of China and Russia have sent congratulatory messages to North Korea's Kim Jong-un to mark the regime's founding anniversary on September 9th. The North state-run news agency said Monday that Chinese President Xi Jinping, in his message, called for deeper strategic communication and cooperation with North Korea, and that Russian President Vladimir Putin said a comprehensive strategic partnership would be strengthened between Pyongyang and Moscow. While North Korea and Russia have drawn closer in recent months, relations between North Korea and China have seen deterioration since the start of the Ukraine war. Kim and Putin met 2 times and exchanged several congratulatory and condolence messages over the past year. But this is the first message from Xi to Kim since New Year's Day. Over in the Middle East, 3 Israelis have been shot dead at a border crossing between the West Bank and Jordan. This comes amid an increase in Israeli ground operations in the West Bank in the past month. Our Choi Soo-young has the latest.
3 Israelis have been shot and killed on the border between the West Bank and Jordan. On Sunday local time, the Israel Defense Forces reported that a shooter got off a truck and killed 3 people with a handgun at the Allenby Bridge crossing over the Jordan River. The IDF called this a terror attack and said the shooter was then shot and killed by the Israeli forces. According to the Times of Israel newspaper, the shooter was a 39-year-old truck driver from Jordan named Meir Diav Hussein al-Zazi, and 2 of the 3 victims were in their 60s, while the age of the other victim was not given.
What I saw with my own eyes, we were sitting and standing at the checkpoint waiting for our turn after the bus in front of us was searched. There was a bus and a truck in front of us. A man got out and carried out the operation. We bus passengers didn't know what to do and we were panicking.
Israel and Jordan closed the Allenby Bridge after the incident, and Israel also closed 2 other checkpoints connecting to Jordan. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that a cowardly terrorist brutally murdered 3 innocent Israeli civilians. Hamas praised the shooter, calling him one of Jordan's brave men. Since the end of August, Israel has been carrying out military operations in the West Bank, claiming to destroy the infrastructure of terrorism. On September 6th, a 20-year-old Turkish-American woman was shot dead by Israeli forces during a protest. The U.S. has asked Israel to investigate the incident. On September 7th, Turkey called for an anti-Israel alliance, saying that the only way to stop Israel's actions is the unification among Muslim countries. Chesuhyang, Arirang News.
Over in Russia, the country's defense ministry said Sunday that it has seized control of a town in eastern Ukraine as it continues its offensive in Donetsk and moves closer to the strategically important city of Pokrovsk. The Kremlin said it had captured the town of Novohrodivka, located about 12 kilometers from Pokrovsk, a city that serves Ukraine's military as a key hub for rail and road logistics. According to reports, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Ukraine's incursion into Kursk had not slowed Russia's advance in eastern Ukraine and had even weakened Kyiv's frontline defenses. Shifting gears to the presidential election in the U.S., in 3 key swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Harris and Trump are in a very tight race. On Sunday local time, a CBS News poll found that in Pennsylvania, where their TV debate will take place on September 10th local time, both candidates have equal support at 50%. In Michigan and Wisconsin, Harris has 50% and 51% respectively, while Trump has 49% in both states. These states have frequently changed their support between parties, making them important battlegrounds in U.S. presidential elections. The 2024 Paris Paralympics ended its 12-day journey with the grand closing ceremony on Sunday. 4 years from now, the drama and inspiration will continue in Los Angeles. Lee Seung-jae reports.
The Paralympics flame that has lit the French capital of Paris for 12 days is now extinguished, marking the end of the 2024 Paris Paralympic Games. The event, filled with inspiration, drama, and celebration, came to an end with the closing ceremony taking place at Stade de France in Saint-Denis on Sunday. Including a refugee team, a total of 4,567 para-athletes from 169 National Paralympic Committee member countries competed, with 549 gold medals up for grabs in 22 events. Much like the Paris Olympics, South Korea exceeded its own expectations, surpassing its goal of 5 gold medals. With 83 para-athletes competing, South Korea won 6 gold medals, 10 silver, and 14 bronze, finishing 22nd overall in the medal standings. South Korea won its 6th gold medal on Saturday, thanks to Kim Jong-un's gold medal finish in the men's table tennis singles. It was also Kim's 5th career Paralympics gold, meaning he's now tied in 2nd place for most Paralympics golds in South Korean history. China finished with the most gold medals with 94, followed by the UK at 49 and the United States at 36. Meanwhile, South Korean para-Nordic skier Won Yoo-min was elected to the International Paralympic Committee's Athletes Council on Saturday, earning 296 votes and becoming one of 6 new members to join. One will serve a 4-year term representing para-athletes around the world and giving feedback on global sports policies for the para-athletes. With the curtain now drawing on Paris, para-athletes around the world will continue their pursuit of going up against all odds and bringing more inspiration and joy to the Paralympics in Los Angeles 4 years from now. 이승재, Arirang News.
President Yoon thanked South Korea's Paralympic athletes who scooped up a total of 30 medals, including 6 golds. In a Facebook post on Sunday, the South Korean leader praised the hard work of the 83 athletes who competed in Paris and their coaches and families who supported them with unwavering dedication. He noted the successes of athlete Jong-un, who clinched his 10th gold medal in a row in Bochia, and Park Jong-joon, who won 2 golds in shooting. Yoon also mentioned how Kwon Hyo-kyung won a silver medal for South Korea in wheelchair fencing, a first in 36 years, while Choi Yong-bum became the first South Korean to reach the finals in canoeing. The president sent a heartfelt round of applause and promised continued support for Team Korea. President Yoon also appointed former police officer and politician Park Jong-joon as his new chief of the Presidential Security Service. The presidential office made the announcement on Monday, saying that his previous experience as vice chief of the PSS, as well as a successful law enforcement career, makes him the perfect fit for the job. Park told reporters that the safety of the nation's commander-in-chief is directly related to national security, and stressed there would not be the slightest gap in the protection of the president. Last week, President Yoon named the former PSS chief Kim Jong-un the new Minister of National Defense. Moving on to the healthcare crisis in the country, South Korean lawmakers are working to address concerns about potential disruptions in the medical system ahead of the Chuseok holiday. Floor leaders of the rival parties met with the National Assembly Speaker on Monday and agreed to work together on bringing doctors to the discussion table. This follows a proposal by the People Power Party to establish a joint consultative body involving rival parties, the government, and relevant members of the medical community to resolve disputes related to medical reform. However, the Korean Medical Association said is hesitant about participating in the talks, as it is demanding that the government scrap its plan to increase next year's medical school quota. Following a reported case of an electric vehicle catching fire recently making headlines here in the country, the authorities have come up with measures, which include disclosing key information on batteries. Our Park Kwon-woo tells us more.
1 month after an electric vehicle caught fire in an underground parking lot in the city of Incheon and destroyed scores of other cars, the South Korean government announces EV safety measures to prevent similar cases from happening.
We'll make sure that EV batteries and charging facilities are safe. We'll check battery safety in advance and make it mandatory to disclose major information, including the battery manufacturer and technologies used.
The certification system for EV batteries was originally planned to be implemented in February 2025, but has been brought forward as a pilot project. Cell manufacturers and major raw materials are now classed as major information to be revealed mandatorily, along with battery capacity and maximum output, which has already been disclosed. The government also came up with ways to protect consumers in case their electric vehicles catch fire. EV makers will have to take out liability insurance policies for their products, or they won't receive subsidies when manufacturing electric vehicles. And a battery management system that monitors the status of car batteries will be widely used in more vehicles from now on. More details related to these safety measures are set to be discussed until the end of this year. Park Kwon-woo, Arirang News.
Seoul Fashion Week took place here in the capital last week, giving the world a glimpse of exciting Korean fashion. Our Yoon was there.
K-pop stars NewJeans are making waves in the fashion world. Serving as the 2025 Spring-Summer Seoul Fashion Week's ambassadors for the second year, the girl group aims to elevate global interest in K-fashion. This year's Seoul Fashion Week ran from September 3rd to September 7th at Dongdaemun Design Plaza and other locations in the city.
Seoul has become a fashion hotspot, with Seoul Fashion Week leading the way. The week showcases cutting-edge K-fashion and provides emerging Korean brands with a global stage, Let's dive into the fashion trends and standout moments from this year's event.
Fashion industry is kind of high level, I would say. Yeah, because there are a lot of brands compared to Russia, for example, and also a lot of ways to express yourself.
I took lots of pictures today, over there and in front of the teddy bear. I also did some challenges.
The opening fashion show featured designer Lee Muyer's streetwear brand User. It kicked off the 21 runway shows scheduled over the 5-day fashion week. This year's Fashion Week was centered on the theme Sustainable Fashion. Fashion brand Parts showcased its collection to emphasize the urgent need for fashion to be more sustainable.
Parts has adhered to a zero-waste philosophy using only one material for the past 13 years.
The essence of Seoul Fashion Week lies in connecting brand designers and buyers, and this season features 95 brands and over 100 global buyers. Another innovative fashion event born to facilitate cultural exchange between South Korea and Italy is Milan Loves Seoul. Following its successful debut in Milan last February, the event has now landed in Seoul. An exclusive exhibition and fashion show featuring leading brands from both countries was hosted at High Street Italia, located on Gangnam's trendy Garosukil Street. The project creators view Korea as the most interesting place to create something new.
This place is evolving very fast, and we think that in Italy we need this kind of networking with the Korean designers. So Milan Loves Seoul really loves Korea, and I think that Korea really loves Italy.
We hope that thanks to this project, our Italian designer will open a new market here in Korea, find new business opportunity for them, but same Korean designer in Italy.
Italian brand Noskra displays its collection that has a touch of the latest Korean fashion trends.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of connection between Italy and Korea, especially in the fashion world. I think the product, the concept, and the silhouette are like in line with the Korean taste.
For the Korean models, the show gives them the opportunity to work with Italian designers.
It's such a great honor to be able to take part in this amazing event. Given the opportunity to model and represent Milan brands in South Korea. I'm so grateful, thankful.
I wear the clothes for Francesca Cottone, and the color is everything, and it's so beautiful. I'm genuinely grateful to participate as model with these amazing designer brands and fabulous clothes. So I'll do my best to show you guys a great look.
Seoul, brimming with style, shows how fashion can connect countries and people with a touch of chic. Yoon, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. We begin today in Venezuela, where the opposition candidate for president in the July 28th election, Edmundo González, fled for Spain on Saturday, where he has been granted political asylum. González reportedly left the Spanish embassy in Venezuela aboard a Spanish Air Force plane before landing in Torreón Air Base in Madrid. 75-year-old González, who ran against Nicolas Maduro in the recent presidential election, has a warrant out for his arrest issued after the opposition disputed election results that granted Maduro a third term. The leader of the Venezuelan opposition political alliance, the Democratic Unitary Platform, said González had fled to preserve his freedom, his integrity, and his life after accusing Maduro's government of unleashing a brutal wave of repression following the presidential election. Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, said that González's exile would restore political peace. The opposition claimed González won the election by a comfortable margin and published evidence online. However, Venezuela's national election body has yet to publish its voting tallies despite international pressure. Foreign governments, including the US and European Union member states, have refused to accept Maduro as the winner without detailed voting data. Described as one of the most powerful storms to hit the country over the past decade, Super Typhoon Yagi wreaked havoc in Vietnam this past weekend, where it triggered landslides, sank boats, ripped roofs off buildings, and left at least 21 people dead. Yagi made landfall in northern Vietnam on Friday with wind speeds of over 150 kilometers per hour, destroying infrastructure and uprooting trees, with the dead including a family of 4 who were killed by a landslide on Sunday morning. Yagi disrupted power supplies and telecommunications in the country's capital, Hanoi, on Saturday, where extensive damage was seen due to flooding and thousands of falling trees. Vietnam's meteorological agency downgraded Yagi from a typhoon to a tropical depression on Sunday, but warned of a high risk of further storm-related flooding and landslides. Boeing's Starliner spacecraft landed uncrewed in the New Mexico desert late on Friday local time. The mission had been intended to be a final test flight for Starliner before NASA certifies it for routine missions. It carried 2 human astronauts when it set off in June, but those astronauts had to stay at the International Space Station rather than return to Earth over safety concerns of the spacecraft. The 2 NASA astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, will return to Earth on a SpaceX vehicle in February 2025, ending what was meant to be an 8-day test, but what has now turned into an 8-month stay in space. World #1 ranked tennis player Jannik Sinner showcases skills and perseverance to beat American Taylor Fritz on Sunday in the final of the US Open. Sinner became the first Italian man to win the US Open title, while local fans at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York had hoped to see Fritz become the first American man to win the US Open since 2003. 23-year-old Sinner beat 26-year-old Fritz by 6-3, 6-4, and 7-5 in the 3 sets played. Kim Jong-un, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. The September heat wave continues with heat alerts in place for much of Korea. Parts of Jeollanam-do and Gyeongsang-namdo province are even under a heat wave warning today. Western regions look to be hotter this afternoon with highs easily surpassing 33 degrees Celsius. And the rapid rise in highs will bring sporadic rain of 5 to 40 millimeters, so please keep an umbrella handy. It will rain down heavily once it starts, and Seoul could see heavy passing rain in the mid-afternoon. Jeju had a record-breaking 63 tropical nights as of this morning, with an expected high of 32 degrees this afternoon. Seoul tops out at 33 degrees Celsius. Skies will be mostly sunny until that passing rain falls. While summer is not done yet, hot September temperatures continue through this week, with an expected high of 34 degrees on Wednesday here in Seoul. Late summer heat looks to stay possibly into the Chuseok holiday weekend. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That ends our Monday afternoon newscast. Do stay with us for our panel session coming up next.